In this video, we're going to go in and restore the files, the databases that we need to run course 55005, the Report Builder 3.0 course, the Microsoft course. However, this does apply with everything you're going to do within SQL 2012, and for that matter, this is pretty much generic all the way back on through. So the first thing I have open here is I'm logged into two instances. I'm in here to the database engine. You see it's SQL 2012 because of the 11.0 down here like this. And I'm also tied into analysis services. And again, I'm tied into the 2012 edition. As usual, I'll be popping back and forth and pausing the video when I need to so you won't be bored. Don't I love you? All right, so the first thing I have here, let's see if we can get this up and running. I've got within here in the MathenoGroup files, which you downloaded from the source. I've got in the database engine, I've compressed all these files, and here's your exec. This is WinRAR. It's the exact same thing if I would have used WinZip. It doesn't really much matter. I just prefer WinRAR. So I've got if I double click this, I would go through and do a extraction, which I've already done. And you see that extraction brings me over to student, the three files that I'm going to use. MathenoGroup 2012, MathenoGroup Retail Data Warehouse 2012, and then the student database, which we use for some of our simpler exercises. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those and I'm going to copy them. I'll actually cut them. I'm going to use Control X because I'm going to paste them back in. And now let's locate where we're going to paste them into. So I'm back over here in SQL 2012 where I want to end up with them, and I want to discover the location. So I'm going to select the report server, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go into properties. Now let me drop this down so you can see what I'm doing and resize a little bit. So now I'm in the properties, and if I come over here into files, this is going to tell me the path that I need. So I'm going to select the path for the files, and the path for these files are all the same for all the databases. They're all in the data. So I'm just going to select path, and I'm going to use Control C and open her on up. And now I can close that. Now I'm going to open a new instance of Windows Explorer. I use the Windows and the E key, and I'm going to paste. I'm going to paste. All right, I'm back. My copy and paste worked less than wonderful. So I've got this over here, and now you notice I'm into SQL 11, which is, isn't that confusing, MS SQL 11, which is really SQL 2012. And I'm just going to paste in the files that now I'll have to recopy because everything kind of hosed itself up there. And again, I'll cut them out so I don't have 3,000 copies of them laying everywhere, and I'll paste them on in here. And now I've got these three MDF files, main data files. Now let's go over and bring them online. So I'm back over here into Work SQL 2012, and I'll right click and I'll go Attach. Now I'm going to select Add, and now you see I'll pop in immediately to the correct location. So there's my 2012 MDF. I want to bring that in, so I'm going to say OK. Now down here on your log, you see not found. You must remove that. And now I'll say OK. And MathenoGroup 2012. If you do this and it doesn't show up, just refresh your display. Now let's go back through and do it again twice for the other two, which are the data warehouse. And again, remove the log. That'll force SQL to rebuild the log, by the way. And let's for laughs, go ahead and put student in here also. The student database is like, again, it's one that we use for simpler courses, but I might as well put it in here. And I'll remove it on out, and I'll say OK. And now we have all of the databases in there because this is not my first rodeo. I'm going to test something. Now right click there. I'm going to run a query against it. And the query worked. And you'll go back in and run queries against all the databases you built back up. At this time, it's probably smart to go in and do a backup. Okay, and let it run and do a backup so you've got it in there. Okay. Okay, the other thing you want to do down here, assuming that you're setting up this 55005 course or any of the courses, you want to set up your owner. So I'm going to right click on each of the databases and I'm going to go into properties, and down here you see I've got owner. Now work Ron happens to be the name of my box is named work and I'm Ron. So what we want to do is change the owner. So if the owner is not who you're going to use to actually run the course, that is, you didn't follow the instructions during setup where we told you to set the owner as the student, whatever, then you're going to have to just search for book online for transact SQL, alter authorization, and run the little script and change the owner. Else have the students run as whoever the database owner is. This may also be empty, in which case you can go in and set the database owner and set it up as student. Okay, finally, let's get the analysis services database up. I use the exact same thing, that is, I decompressed the database. Actually, what I decompressed was this backup file down in here, and if you'll take a look at it, okay, I goofed. I was in there looking at the wrong file. What the file you want is the ABF file. And that's copied over to Programs File SQL, and it depends on the name of your instance. See, SQL 2012_2 is the name of the instance, and then it's an OLAP, and then backup, and it's an ABF file, not a BAK file. So after you decompress, copy it on over here, and then now we do this simple restore. We're going to restore from backup. So I'm going to go in here and do a restore, and then I'll browse. Now what's shown up in here may vary on your computer, but you'll have one that shows into the default instance, and there's that ABF file, which is the only files that will show. And if we say OK, and none of these have security attached to them, so there is no password. Feel free, by the way, to use them wherever you want. They're just little samples that I put out there, and you can take them home with you, whatever you want to do. Have a party. Go crazy. Okay, after backup completes or restore completes, then you'll come in through and you'll refresh it. And again, just make sure it works. So now we're down here, go into the cubes, and we're going to come in Operation Cube. We'll select Browse, which will take a little bit. And now we'll just run a basic query. I'll change my perspective over to sales. And measures really doesn't matter. We're just trying to run anything in here. And just add the query. Executing. It's got a, so there's my sales. So now it worked. Now I know I am good to go. Again, it might not be a bad idea. Come through and do a backup, but really not required. And that's all you need to set this up for the course. And now you've got your 3 sample databases. This one you're not going to use. These 2 you use quite a bit. And then for your analysis services, you're going to use this database down in here.